So I'm in Mumbai for the last 6 years. Before that, I was in Delhi for 6 years. And before that, I was in Kathmandu for about 4 years. So I've seen the chill, and I miss the winters of Delhi and Kathmandu. But yeah, I think except for this 2020, which is a pretty unusual year, my job requires me to travel quite a bit, and that's the strength that we have as researchers when we go and see the first hand as to what's happening on ground.
Very nice. So, yeah. I think one Shukla Ganj there is near Kanpur. Am I right?
Yeah,
you can help me. Shukla Ganj, huh? The name of that town or city is a big. That's great. So you are a Sultan of Shukla Ganj. Most welcome.
Thank you for that. Definitely, we are all sultans in our own hearts.
Yeah, that's great. So I think everyone is ready. Open eyes, clapping, then this, open ears. Most welcome.
Surely. Thank you. So now, like we talked about the 4 life stages: consumerization, innovation, market effectiveness, and sales effectiveness, right? And that's where you can see this linkage. Sales effectiveness is what we're going to talk slightly more in detail, because as a researcher, I know not only because I've spent a significant, part of my career on sales effectiveness, but it is definitely, as it is giving you the dependent variable, the ultimate outcome. It is one of the most sophisticated tools, very widely used across the world. RMS is the retail measurement service, which is one of the strong pillars of sales effectiveness in terms of, a product or a practice that we have. Nielsen has a retail measurement service in close to 100 odd markets across the world. Almost all big markets, we have this product. And I'll use this to demonstrate the power of it and how does the business use it in its regular decision making. So that's where we'll spend about an hour or so on this sales effectiveness side. Like I said in the earlier part also, we are now going slightly more focused on a specific, life stage of sales effectiveness and retail measurement service, RMS, as a product. So you should definitely know about this product, because you would definitely use this product sometime or the other in your career. As a clinician or maybe a business practitioner, I have not found anybody who would not have used RMS in the entire career on the corporate side, or even from the academic side. If you are indulged in marketing research as a curriculum, this will definitely come in. So starting with when I was talking about the sales effectiveness in the earlier slide, so how am I performing? If I am the custodian of a brand or a company, how am I performing? That's a very important topic, and there are various ways to do that. So you would have heard about the earnings release. The listed companies are mandated to give their quarterly, performance statements through earnings release to the street, to the financial street. So if I'm working in a specific sector and there are a couple of listed companies operating in that sector, when these companies release their quarterly statement, I would come to know that I did so much, these companies did so much. So earnings release is one of the indicators you can use. Similarly, registrar of companies. So every, company which is registered in India is supposed to submit its financial statement to the registrar of companies on an annual basis. So you can, and one can find this, and this information is available. The ROC also makes it available on chart basis. So one can find out what has happened to this company in the last financial year. It may come with a lag. So ROC allows a company to file its annual statement 3 to 4 months, 6 months, say down the line from finishing finish of a financial year. But whatever it is, you may like to know what has happened to maybe my competitor in the last quarter, but the ROC report is available only for the year 1920 or maybe 1819. Even 1920 is not available till now. So, but with whatever lag it is, you may know what is happening to a specific competition or competitive brand. And if it is a listed company, as per the mandate, they will release the quarterly statement, so you can see it from there also, right? Similarly, you would know, okay, so let me stay at that point. From the earnings release or the ROC reports, you may try and figure out what has happened in terms of performance to my brand, which I know anyway from my sales records, vis-a-vis other brands. But this information most often will be available only at a national level, India level, right? If you want to see whether your specific initiative that was going on in only the state of, say, Orissa or say in Punjab, how did I fare there in competitive sphere? Earnings or ROC will probably not give you that detail. So you need to go for, say, some other measure, right? Now, that's where the secondary shipment comes in, where you know your shipment data. So what has been shipped from your factory to the next level of the distributor, or distributor has sold to wholesaler, that information you may have for your own brand or your own product. If it is a, say, consumer product or consumer durables or lighting product or say non-alcoholic beverages or lubricants, auto lubricants or stationery, whatever. So any product that you are in, you would know from your shipment data as to what is the kind of sale that you have done in a specific state. Also you can know. So you can at least know interstate performance for your own product or your own brand. And if you can get some intelligence from your sales team, which is on the ground, you may try and get some competitive scenario also on a specific state. But the issue there is when you rely on your internal teams and ask about the competitive performance, the response often is biased, because the sales team will like to give you information which is putting them in a good picture and not all those specific details where they are painted in a slightly wrong way or an inferior way. So the biasness also comes in. So whether you get the information from earnings release or ROC reports, which can be slightly lagged and only at a macro level and not at the micro level, or you get some intelligence from your own system, but there could be a challenge of being biased. So these are the shortcomings that you have. But different companies who do not have other sophisticated, say reports or availability of those insights, they would say work with these high level numbers, right? Now, that is where the wholesale index, the WS index that I am talking about, or the retail measurement service comes into picture. And RMS is a proprietary tool of Nielsen. And the point that I just talked about, say an RMS would give you certain advantages. And these advantages are, number one, since Nielsen does not have a vested interest in a specific brand or a company or a sector, and if it is measuring a sector, it would come up with an independent and unbiased view. And why would we do that? Is because in a specific sector, we would be partnering with all different partners, all different stakeholders. So you can see that in the parenthesis I have written that any consumer product, durables or say fast moving consumer goods and say allied industries, we would be working with more than 2/3 of the market. So all those manufacturers that work with us, say in an FMCG space, they would contribute to maybe 2/3 of the total market. So for any sector, say if you're talking about say biscuits as a category, so we would be working with the Britannia, we would be working with the Parle, we would be working with the Aicte, we would be working with Anmol biscuits. So we would be working with say a dozen of players. So Nielsen would not be having any vested interest to show one in a better light as compared to other, which could be a possibility when we're talking about the sales team that say a Parle asks as to what is happening in your territory, your market, or your area. So that unbiasedness and independence is one of the most important strengths that retail measurement service of Nielsen brings into the market. And I'll tell you what does it bring. But in terms of the key elements, unbiasedness and independence is the most significant factor. The second one is RMS gives you reads at the micro market level. So like the example I was giving you, you can compare say a Bangalore versus say a Chennai or a Ludhiana, right? You can measure what is happening in say an ABRL outlet, a retailer in say a city of Kolkata versus what is happening to say a big bazaar in Ahmedabad. So you can read at a geography level. You compare your performance for a brand in say Telangana versus Chhattisgarh. So at different geographical level, you can read what is happening. You can also read at the channel level. There is a traditional trade channel. You can know what is the performance of my brand in Andhra Pradesh chemists versus Madhya Pradesh grocers or Madhya Pradesh chemists for that matter. So you can go and compare at different levels, right? So instead of having a very high level view, you can read at a micro market level, identify opportunities, make specific initiatives, launch it in the market, and see what is the result out of it. And if it is working, you keep on investing more on that. And gradual read. So this read is not only in terms of micro markets, it is also in terms of trends. So you can see as to month after month, modern trade channels, the organized trade that we say, we can report at a weekly level. In some of the markets, we report at a daily level. So if you are a Walmart, say a marketing head of a specific category, every morning when you go to your office at say 8:30 in the morning, you will know what has happened on the previous day. So that's the kind of strength of trending in terms of growth, in terms of change and all. So that's the sophistication that RMS brings in. And the third bullet point that you can see is the data harmonization. So we would work with say a Reliance or say a V-Mart or maybe say a D-Mart or say a Big Bazaar. So these retailers or maybe a Flipkart or an Amazon or a Big Basket or a Grofers. So these independent retailers or modern trade retailers would know what they are selling because they also have got sophisticated systems of point of sale and all. They would know what has the sale been last day or last week for their own channel. But they would like to know what has happened to the overall modern trade channel or how has the modern trade performed vis-a-vis e-commerce because they also say competing with each other. When there's a say Republic Day big week, then same set of consumers are being cajoled or maybe offered and motivated to go and shop from their own say sites. So the challenge that they face is they would have pretty good system of information of what sale that they have made, but they don't know what others have made. And even if two retailers decide to say work together and cooperate, the challenge is the data is not harmonized. The system, the hierarchy, what is the kind of category, what are the subcategories, the format I was talking about of liquid vaporizer versus say coils versus say cream, what one retailer is following may not be the same that the second retailer is following, or the third one is following, or what is happening in a chemist shop, or what is happening in a chemist modern trade, or what is happening in a grocer or a pan store. These all channels have got different levels of data, and it is not harmonized. What Nielsen does is it harmonizes all data and put it in a platform where one could read exactly in same conjunction to the other unit that one is comparing with. These are some very, very important and strong factors which makes RMS extremely popular, and that is why you see that more than 2/3 of the manufacturers and modern trade and e-tail retailers, they work with us. And since we have to measure the traditional trade side also, we have a panel of 40,000 retail outlets, and these are grocers, chemists, pawn shops, food stores, cosmetic stores, and so on and so forth. This is the FMCG part I'm talking about, where Nielsen auditors, they would go to say a sample outlet, which is the panel outlet that we say, one of those 40,000, and would do a retail audit. And that's what I'm going to talk more about in the subsequent section. So let's park it till that time. So the point I wanted to highlight here is the unbiased and independent factor makes Nielsen cut across a pretty big section of manufacturers, retailers, and retailers of different types: modern trade, e-commerce, big small shops, chemists, pawn shops, and so on and so forth. So we have a strength of about 1,500 odd auditors, 1,500, because these shops have to be physically audited every month, and we publish report every month. And this is extremely popular, where we measure each and every brand in a category. So a category could be a shampoo versus say a packaged sausages, or maybe say noodles, or it could be say a fairness cream, or it could be a refined oil, so and so forth. So these are independent categories. So within each category, we could measure what is happening to each and every brand present in the category, and within each brand, each SKU, which is a stock keeping unit. So a specific variant. So for example, in toothpaste, Colgate Dental Cream is a brand. A Colgate Dental Cream 100-gram pack is one SKU as against a 50-gram Colgate Dental Cream, or say a 500-gram if it is there, right? Or a 200-gram Colgate Dental Cream, which is coming with a 5 rupee off, which is a promotion, or a Colgate Dental Cream 200-gram coming with a toothbrush free. These are all independent SKUs, and we measure at that level. And one can check as to what is happening at that granular level vis-a-vis the initiative that one has put in and in the competitive sphere. That's the strength, that's the power of it, right? So Nielsen tracks FMCG, fast moving consumer goods, and other products. And some of the other products that we measure in India, like I just gave a couple of names. We do track auto lubricants. We track alcoholic beverages. We have stationery. We have ice cream. We do have, say, battery, and so on and so forth. So the various products that we track: food products, personal care, home care, over-the-counter pharmacy. So what is the analgesics or Chyawanprash? How is it selling? So each of these products, we have about 100 odd products that we track in India. And like I said, globally, 2023 will be our centenary, and Dr. Vikram Sarabhai legacy we just talked about. We do have a joint venture with another company, a German company called GfK, where we track the consumer durables. So the consumer electronics, a TV or a music system and so on and so forth, a home appliances, a refrigerator, an air conditioner and so on and so forth, IT products, a monitor or a laptop, mobile handsets, and various other electronic products that we do track. So that's the kind of say width of services. And why I'm giving this information is because if you're knowing about these things, whenever you have anything of this sort, you would know that this kind of facility or service is available and you can use it, right? So I'll pause again. Any question?
Sir, what are the modalities of harmonizing data across all categories, products, etc.? Just out of curiosity.
Very good question. Very good question. So basically what we have to do, so what we have to do is we have to follow a lexicon, right? A lexicon is nothing but in a category, like example of maybe I was giving you the example of say toothpaste. In the toothpaste category, we know what are the various segments. There could be a mouthwash, there could be a cream, there could be gel, and so on and so forth. You have to create that hierarchy, and within each one of them, you know what are the brands. Then each brand, what are the sub brands? What are the variants? What are the pack sizes? What are the promotions? What are the SKUs? So that lexicon has to be followed. Right. Let me give an example which we are working, which we were working in last week. So now, recently during COVID-19, there are a lot of new categories which have come up and have become more popular. So one of them is the disinfectant spray. Right? You may have used it. Must have heard about it for sure. Right? Now the disinfectant spray, if you see, their brands, Dettol has launched it from Reckitt Benckiser. Godrej has launched it by the name of Protect. ITC has launched it in the name of Savlon. Right? And these are variants. It's not a normal Dettol. You will see that in the market you find Dettol blue and Dettol green. They are more on the disinfectant part and not the antiseptic liquid. Right? Now, a retailer, maybe an Amazon, would be hardly bothered. Let's say, fine, whatever it is doing, let me put everything in antiseptic liquid. How does it matter? As long as I'm giving the consumer, okay, fine, you go in that tree of hierarchy, of segmentation, you go and pick a product and you get it delivered. I'm hardly bothered whether it is in antiseptic liquid or in floor cleaner or a different category. Right?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Some echo is from your side, please.
Yeah. So can others please go on mute if you're not speaking? Please unmute yourself only when you're speaking. Thank you. So
There is echo generating from your side, sir. Please control the voice.
So it will echo only when others are also unmuted. If others mute themselves, then my voice will not echo. Is it echoing even now?
This time, okay, sir.
Yeah. So that's the problem. So that's the problem of technology. So at times, so if multiple people have unmuted themselves, then this echo will come. So my humble submission is, please say unmute yourself whenever you have to speak. And do unmute yourself. Don't keep on the mute. Please unmute yourself, but only when you have to speak. Okay, cool. So, was my voice clear or should I repeat what I was saying?
No, it's okay, sir.
Okay, cool.
No, it's clear, sir.
Okay, so I was just saying that Nielsen will follow a lexicon, and this lexicon will follow on a global basis. So that tomorrow, if you are the Reckitt Benckiser, say CEO, in India, tomorrow if you go to say Ghana or if you go to Libya, if you want to measure in similar way, you can find the same lexicon. And that is what data harmonization brings in. And that's a that's an extremely powerful say factor to make the information more usable. Did I answer your question?
Sir, thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So moving on, now let's see, I'm just trying to explain using this diagram as what is the trade structure, and you would already know, I'll just bring some points of sophistication here. this is the FMCG trade structure in India, right? What happens is there's a company warehouse. After production, from the company warehouse, something will move out to distributors, and distributors are appointed by various companies. Each FMCG company, a Hindustan Unilever, a Procter & Gamble, or a Colgate, or a Godrej, or a Dabur, they would all have their distributors. The distributors would be either selling to the wholesalers, or they would sell directly to the retailers, right? You'll find that the salesmen from the distributors will go and supply to the retail outlets, right? Or these retailers can go to the wholesale and buy product, bring it and sell, right? Now, these retailers could be either traditional retailers, or they could be modern trade retailers like the big bazaars or D-marts of the world, or they could be e-commerce platforms, Amazon, Flipkart, Big Basket, Grofers, and so on and so forth. And from these retail outlets, consumers will buy, right? Consumers will buy and either consume out of home, on the go, in restaurants, food items, and so on and so forth, or say cola drinks, fruit juices, drinking water. They could be out of home consumption, or they will bring it at home and they'll consume at home, right? So, like I said, Nielsen tracks about 100 odd FMCG categories, fast moving consumer goods categories. And on an active basis, there are more than 30,000 FMCG companies. CPG is Consumer Product Group, which is actually in Europe, they call it CPG. In America, they call it FMCG, right? India also largely it is FMCG. So there are more than 30,000 big and small companies. And that's why I was saying that most of the big ones, they would work with us. There are more than 3 lakh trade intermediaries in the country and more than 1 crore FMCG retail outlets. So it's a difficult proposition to measure this market because of its vastness and because of its diversity. And we'll see as to how do we handle that, right? Now, this is what largely is coming into the B2C space, business to consumers, right? Now, apart from that, there could be exports. Something is being produced here and being exported to, say, Africa or to Southeast Asia or to America. So there could be exports. There could be B2B sales, which is the institutional sales. Maybe a distributor can directly sell to an MIAT canteen, right? Or the MIAT canteen owner can go to the wholesale market and buy it directly. So in all those cases, the institutional sale is not through the retail outlets. Sometimes it can be through retail outlets also, but some other times it can be through a wholesale directly or distributors directly. Companies normally do not sell directly to institutions, very rarely. But yeah, there could be deals where companies can sell to the army canteens or to railways or to say Indigo Airlines. So these are deals that can happen where goods can be moving directly from company warehouse to the institutional buyer, right? So exports, business to business deals, direct to consumers or wholesale to consumers is the MIT example I gave you. MIT canteen owner can buy directly from wholesale. That becomes wholesale to consumer or direct to consumer. There could be also some temporary channels, retail channels, right? So for example, if there's a Kumbh Mela happening in say Haridwar or say in Allahabad. So in the Kumbh Mela, there could be a lot of shops which will come up for a month while the Mela is happening. Now, those will be away from the permanent retail outlets, modern trade, e-commerce, or traditional trade outlets, or they could be hawkers which are moving from one place to another place, right? So these are some of the consumption channels which does not go through retail outlet, traditional, modern, or e-commerce. So what Nielsen does within its RMS platform, Retail Measurement Service platform, is whatever is selling from retailers to consumers, traditional trade, modern trade, or e-commerce, at this point we intercept. Our teams intercept and we measure what is selling from here to here. And now you can relate the example I was giving you of a toothpaste. What is the number of Colgate dental cream, 200 gram with a toothbrush free? How many units has been sold from a traditional trade, maybe a grocer, to the consumer in the state of, say, Punjab, or in the city of, say, Nagpur? We can measure that. Modern trade and e-commerce also, and I'll go into detail as to how do we do that. And that this is the intersection point that we capture, and we make estimates which are harmonized, unbiased, micro market based, and gives you a lot of trend and growths and changes. So that is the strength that Nielsen brings through Retail Measurement Service. I'll pause again. Any questions or any observation? So now we'll go into the methodology. A quick round of methodology as to how do we do this.
Samir ji, there is a very little question, something different, because sometime I got opportunity to buy a grocery with my family. I got opportunity, I'm telling you. There I saw the observation, the small pack of, for example, Tata tea and shampoos, in fact. So the cost price, if we calculate, the small pack we buy, its cost is very low. I'm taking example of the Tata tea. If you buy 100 grams of Tata tea pack, its cost is 31 rupees. It means if 1 kg, its cost goes to 310 rupees. But if buy a 1 kg pack, it cost is 385 rupees, which is always surprising. And same thing in that toothpaste. Dabur launched their 5 rupees and 10 rupees. And the big size of toothpaste, its cost is in ratio this much be higher. So what is the strategy behind it and something and light on it?
Yeah. So while we can not many consumers who go into that detail, right? Each one of us do buy toothpaste and shampoo and XYZ, but not many of us, even in this group, would go and do this calculation, right? And that is what the companies play around with. So a lot of tactical, say, steps are being taken, but your observation is bang on. That is being done by the companies in a very deliberate way, and there are various reasons for that, right? So maybe I'm not going into the details as to why does one do that, but it would be a combination of, there would be some factors of input cost also. A packaging of a sachet may be very different from, say, a bottle, right? There could be the recycling part of different packages. There would be primary packages and secondary packages and tertiary packages. There would be trade margins. There would be consumer preference, the pocket, the willingness to pay. So I'll give you a typical example, and maybe we can have a more detailed discussion. In the interest of time, I'll park the rest of it for some other time. But
Sir,
you may have heard
can I
about.
add something to that?
Yeah, I'll just give you this one example, ma'am, and then you can add there.
Samirji, Dr. Tripti, she might be give a good input in it because she's
Really?
continued buyer of that kind of product. So I throw the food of thought, and everybody will be involved.
Yeah. So
yes,
I'll just give you one example, and then, ma'am, you can add from your side. So the example I wanted to give is, see, you may have heard about these magic price points, right? So 1 rupee, 5 rupee, 10 rupee, these are magic price points, right? So a candy which was selling at 1 rupee, now what will happen? Suppose if the input the inflation is a reality. When the input costs go up, what is the option before this brand? This 1 rupee has to become, it can't become 1 rupee at 10 paise. The 10 paise is not relevant at this juncture. So what will they do? They'll keep on absorbing that cost and say leveraging on their profitability. And maybe at some point in time, they will think that, okay, fine, now I'll make it 1 to 150 or maybe 1 to 2. Take the same example. Maybe say a glass bottle of say a Pepsi or a Coke, which was selling at 10 rupees, maybe 10 years back. Now 10 rupee can be 11 rupee also if inflation comes in, or 12 rupees. Now there are umpteen examples and we work very closely with these brands. If you want to deviate from the magic price point, it has got a pretty big detrimental impact. People are not willing to move out of that magic price point. It's in the psychology. I will buy, I can pay 10 rupees, I will not pay 12 rupees for it. And if there are say 5 brands that I can maybe indulge in, if 4 of them are selling at 10 and one of them moves to 12, even if I am the loyal customer of this 12, I'll move to another brand. There are various examples of that sort. So, I mean, I'm just giving you one side of it, one factor of it. There could be say tens of factors, which would be making this tactical move of maybe selling something at a, for the absence of any word, illogical say economy in terms of 100 gram versus a 1 kg or 10 gram versus say a 200 grams. So that's what I wanted to say. Ma'am, what was your observation, please? So somebody wanted to say, give some perspective. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, Sameer.
Yeah, there was somebody who wanted to add maybe.
Yes, sir. This is Dr. Kruti.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was just trying to add what you said same to that. As such question was why small packaging are cheaper as to the large. So generally, it's what I think or what my perspective on it is. It's here the concept of bottom of pyramid or what we can say the lower level of economic things work. Because the target market over there for sachet or small packages is very huge. So economy of scale works there. With less profit, they can earn more. But at the bigger packaging, they are targeting to the upper middle class or the premium class, and where they cannot have multiple number of people who are buying. Multiple means obviously more people, but less than what at the pyramid level or a small packaging level. And that's why they try and keep less profit at the small packaging than the bigger packaging. That's what my perspective was.
Very true. Very right observation. And you brought in 2 factors, ma'am. One is the willingness to pay, or the price point that I can afford, the affordability part of it. Even if I have got say money, I would not like to go and buy a 1 kg pack. So you guys will have to again mute yourself if you're not speaking. Yeah. So that is one factor that you brought in. And the second factor, very important, is convenience. Maybe a high-end consumer would not like to go for a sachet. Where will I keep that? I got enough space. I'll put a bottle. It is the brand image that I carry. It is maybe tomorrow if my friend or guest comes to my house, what will they say? This guy keeps sachets. I mean, various factors, right? And the companies study these very, very closely. I'll add one last factor, and there, like I said, there would be tens of factors. And this is a cue I'm giving. Maybe you can experiment next time when you go and shop. So at times what happens, that especially in the fast moving consumer goods, there's a shelf life, right? You will say best before 60 days, food products, right? Even in personal care, beauty products, you'll find that 2 years, 1 year, there's a shelf life. Now, if I have a product which is nearing its shelf life, what do I do? If it crosses the shelf life, I may be getting a return. Do I go for that, or I go for a specific promotion where I say ek pe ek free le lo. And in that one ek pe ek free, that scheme, you find that that becomes a much more economical pack as compared to maybe a smaller pack, which is fresh or fresher. Just try it next time when you go for shopping. When you see this kind of difference, maybe quite a few times you'll find that this is one of the factors which the companies will do as a tactical move to move their bigger packs, which has not moved and is closing towards the shelf life. Does it make sense?
Yes, sir. I think I gave a thought to this and I got very good input, sir. Thank you.
Surely. That's where we have to use, we have to say, think on our feet. And if you come up with these observations, it will only help me bring some more aspects which could be relevant for the entire group.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll move to the how do we measure within RMS? How do we measure? So I talked about the organized trade and I talked about the traditional trade channels, retail channels. So this slide talks about how do we measure what is selling from the organized trade. And this is fairly simple. And India is largely a traditional trade market for fast-moving consumer goods. Close to 90% of FMCG products sold in India is from the traditional trade. Only about 10-11% is sold from the modern trade and e-commerce. I'm talking about FMCG, right? But still, 11%, 12% at an all India level. If you see at the metropolitan cities, the top 50 cities or so on in the country, it could be as high as 20%. If you go to specific cities, like if you go to say a city like say Kochi, organized trade can be as high as say 45-50%. In Bangalore, it could be as high as 1/3. So in specific markets, organized trade is more important. Even at an India level, it's more than 10-11% of total FMCG market, which is passing through these organized channels, right? Now, what do? We got modern trade, which is the brick and mortar, the big bazaar and the Reliance and the D-Marts of the world. And we have got e-commerce players, Amazon and the Flipkart and the big baskets of the world, right? So what we do is, and as I was saying in the earlier slide, is we do partner both with manufacturers and retailers, right? So even manufacturers, we have been talking about that, yeah, they can use their this information, they can plan their strategy and tactics and all. Even retailers need this information because they would like to know what is happening in the other banners within modern trade or e-commerce that I am playing in, or how is it working in the traditional trade channels, because the channels are interlinked and consumers are also now say playing around, especially the cities. Most of the consumers now would be buying from all three different types. For modern trade also, when they have they get a chance, e-commerce also they order, and e-commerce has become much more popular during the lockdown period and the COVID scenario, and also from the neighborhood shops, the kirana or the chemist or the pan shops, right? So what we do is these modern trade retailers, the Reliance or the big bazaars of the world, or the e-commerce e-tailers, they would share their point of sale data with us, right? They would give us, say, every week, how much have they sold? And this is on a confidentiality agreement signed, which we sign with each one of them, that we would not divulge your individual information with anybody. Instead, what we will do is we will combine all modern trade retailers' data into one and report what is happening in modern trade, or what is happening in e-commerce, or what is happening in kirana. And kirana in the traditional trade, I'll come in a while. But we would sign the agreement with the modern trade retailers and e-tailers where they would share their point of sale data, right? Now, not all of them will share data with us for whatever reason. I mean, some of them are not comfortable, some of them they want something that we can't offer or something like that. So whichever portion is not being cooperated, we call it non-co-op. So we got co-op partners where we get the point of sale data, and we got the non-co-op partners. We have got various sophisticated tools to estimate their sales, right? Now, for example, e-commerce, when you order a product, whether it is FMCG or consumer durables or mobile handset, so you would get some information in terms of your product has been delivered or say started from the vendor. You can track it and all, right? There are various tools where web scraping can give you a lot of precious information, and some of these tools are being used in a very sophisticated manner where we can estimate the sales from the non-cooperating partners also. We got 100% sales of point of sale data from the cooperating partners. We get the non-co-op partners estimated, and we combine that and we know what is happening in the modern trade space or e-commerce space. There are specific arrangements with specific modern trade retailers or e-tailers where they could allow us to share their format data also with the manufacturers. So these are all commercial arrangements. So we do work with these, and that's how we estimate what is happening in modern trade. And you can relate this with the toothpaste example, or maybe say an example of a package data, right? Any of these categories you can do. Now, what is the business significance of this? So what are we doing? We are collecting data either through cooperation or by estimation of the non-co-op partners. We harmonize the data. We talked about harmonization because each retailer, each modern trade will be having a different system. We'll harmonize that using the Nielsen Global Lexicon, and we will create customized reports, because in return, a big bazaar would like to see information in a certain way, in a specific template or a dashboard, which could be very different from, say, an Amazon or from a Flipkart. So we can create customized reports. Because once the harmonized databases are ready, you can cut it in whichever custom way of reporting. And think of tomorrow, if a Procter & Gamble sales head is going and negotiating with, say, a D-Mart. If they have Nielsen information, RMS information, both of them will be sitting across the table and referring to the same report. And with the right information, say, which is harmonized, which is uniform on both the sides, they can have a much meaningful negotiation as compared to a situation where one side is having everything and the other side is not having that information. So Nielsen information RMS also works very strongly as a trade desk, where this information can be used for much more informed and professional negotiations when a manufacturer and a retailer interact with each other. Does it make sense? Somebody should say yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Carry on, sir.
Okay, cool. Perfect. So this is the organized trade. So retail measurement service of Nielsen. In the organized trade channel, we got modern trade and e-commerce, right? Now, modern trade, when we say, this last part on this slide, is we have got banners, the likes of the D-Marts or the V-Marts. But also there are standalone modern trade stores also. So which are only one store, but they behave like modern format, where a shopper can go and pick and choose. One can go and self-service, and it fulfills certain criteria that we define as modern trade. So standalone modern trade and the banners part gets combined and classifies as modern trade, and e-commerce is very clear, right? That's where the organized trade measurement comes in. Now coming to the traditional trade side. And like I said, we discussed earlier, is India has got over 10 million outlets, more than 1 crore retail outlets dealing in FMCG products. Now, how do we measure? How do we estimate what is selling from each one of them, right? And there are these retail channels could be grocers or general stores. It could be chemists, cosmetic stores, and it could also have, say, pawn shops and so on and so forth. Because even pawn shops sells a lot of products. It sells tobacco, it sells cigarettes, it does sell confectionery, it would sell maybe shampoo sachet, small toothpaste, and so on and so forth, battery, right? So that becomes very important in the channel. So what we do is, and in the subsequent slide, I'll show as to how do we measure this traditional trade channel. So for that, what we do is, there are 5 stages. You can see it here. The first one is we have to define the universe. And the universe means how many shops are there in a specific geography. And the geography could be one city. It could be one state. It could be one region, or maybe entire country. It's a build-up model. So you have to define the universe, how many shops are there which are dealing in FMCG. And then from that universe, you have to draw a representative sample. This is basic statistics, right? So what we do is, I'll go gradually and we'll come to the second, third, fourth, and fifth, say subsequently. So what are we doing here is, we are, within defining the universe, we are understanding the market structure. In a geography, what are the channels? How many grocers are there? How many of them are big, small? How we would profile them, right? How many pawn shops are there? So in the city of, say, Chennai, which is the municipal boundary or urban agglomerate, whichever way we define it, how many chemist stores are there? Versus how many, say, grocers are there? So we would go and enumerate this universe in the city of Chennai, and likewise we will enumerate for the state of Tamil Nadu or for southern India, and then overall India. So that is the defining the universe. Then once we have defined the universe, we will have to, so suppose if there are, say, 1 crore plus stores in India, we can't go to each of these 1 crore stores every month and do and check what is happening in terms of their sales and purchase and all, right? That becomes a humongous task, and we'll take, so right now with whatever representative sample that we have a, say, a team of about 1,500 auditors, 1,500 people who are engaged in this activity, right, every month. And why is it such a big investment needed? Because otherwise, India is such a diverse and vast market that you won't be able to measure it. And this information will be used by the industry, which is selling maybe close to, say, 500 lakhs of, say, 500 lakh crores of, say, FMCG products. Maybe, say, $100 billion is being sold out of this market, and this information will be very, very handy to each one of those manufacturers and the brand owners, right? So after defining the universe, we'll design a sample. We will do the physical audit, and I'll tell you as to how do we do that. So just to explain this process slightly more, so let's see this. So let's take the same example, and this is basically what we are trying to define is, from the universe, how do we draw a sample which represents this universe? Because that's the basic statistics. And the typical example you would have seen, say, in your statistics class in your school or college is, one example which is very popular is when you cook, say, dal or rice, right? So if you're cooking in a container, not a pressure cooker, but suppose if you're cooking rice in a container, which is, say, closed or covered with a lid. Now, after some time, you remove the lid, you take a pinch of a couple of grains of rice and crush it with your fingers and see whether it is cooked or not, right? We all would have done it at some point in time. Now, you don't go to different portions of your rice container to pick and check. You check it one place and decide, yeah, it is cooked or not cooked. If it is not cooked, you cook it for some more time. Now, why did you take that one pinch? Because you're taking a sample out of the universe. And that container is a universe, taking one pinch, and you decide what is happening to the universe, right? Why was it possible with only one pinch? Because the entire container is homogeneous. You know that if one grain of rice is cooked, even the bottom portion is cooked, if the side portion is cooked, the left hand is also cooked. But that luxury we don't have in a FMCG retail universe kind of environment, where a chemist shop can behave very differently from a pan shop or a grocer, or a small grocer can be behaving very differently from a large grocer. So it's a very heterogeneous universe. And to measure a heterogeneous universe, you have to have the right representation. That's the beauty of statistics, right? So what are we doing here is, so let's take the same example of Chennai, right? Suppose Chennai is a market. We know how many shops are there. Now, if geography is Chennai city, say, let's take an example, or here it is saying Delhi. So in Chennai or Delhi, we will know what are the different outlet types: a grocer, a pan shop, a food store, cosmetic store, and so on and so forth, right? And then we can also have on the other axis, we can have the big shops, small shops, mid-sized stores, and there are various profiling parameters to do that. In a way, what are we trying to do is, here we are converting the heterogeneous universe of retail outlets in the city of Chennai into these homogeneous cells. And a cell is one outlet type, one outlet class. So a large grocer, suppose, or a small grocer, or a mid-sized grocer, something of that sort, would be forming a cell. So what are we trying to do is, we are converting this overall heterogeneous universe into relatively homogeneous cells. And once you are able to do this homogeneous cell in a homogeneous way, then you can pick sample from each one of them, each cell, and measure that and extrapolate to know what is happening in this cell. You keep on extrapolating, and if you combine, you'll know what is happening in the city of Chennai or Delhi or whatever that market you're choosing. So that's the heterogeneous universe being converted into homogeneous cells, and we apply multi-stage sampling to draw the sample of panel outlets. In those panel outlets, we do audit. We conduct audit. We have defined the universe, we have got the sample, and we are now conducting audit. And like I said, just give me 1 sec. I'll just put my phone on charge because it's battery low. Just give me one.
So everyone are ready to shower the question or shower their views. And then Samir Shukla is again come back. Shukla is ready. So I think within 15 minutes we can, Shukla, you can announce the lunch time, about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So as per
12:36. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever you want to announce.
Yeah. So I'll go fast in the, I mean, the subsequent section will not take much time, but this was important. Once we have defined the universe, we have designed the sample where we want to conduct audit. We got our auditors who will do a physical stock audit. Okay. Now, what do we do there? So in the shop, every month, so between 4th and 29th, each of our 1,500 auditors, they will go and measure what is the stock on shelf, on the retail shelf. How many pieces of Colgate dental cream, 200 grams, with a 5 rupee off, versus 200 gram Colgate dental cream with a toothbrush free, or a Colgate dental cream 200 gram without any offer. Whatever it is, at the SKU level, our auditors will do the stock counting, right? They would also check what is the purchase that has been made by the retailer. How many Colgate dental cream, 200 grams of the 3 variant that we discussed, was being purchased by the retailer in the last 30 days, right? And we note the MRP from the packs, and we have about 10 years back, when we used to go with say a paper and a questionnaire, about 10 years back now, we have converted into handheld terminals where the item master is uploaded, pre-uploaded, and the auditors will input their data in the handheld terminals. And the beauty of this technology is there will be a lot of logic checks which the machine will do and help the auditor if they're going wrong, or they will ask the auditor to validate as to why something is looking the way it is looking, right? So that's the audit that we do, the physical audit. And then once we have done the audit, we do the extrapolation. We do various quality checks and all. We extrapolate the data the way I was showing that cell in that cube. We'll do the extrapolation, and then the reports are ready, which is customized to the need of the user. And the user could be a manufacturer, it could be even an investor. So if there's a financial investor, a PE fund, or maybe a sovereign fund which wants to invest in a company or a sector, they would also use this report to see as to what is the kind of growth that is coming to a sector, a category, a player, a manufacturer, and so on and so forth. Retailers, trade intermediaries, each one of them will have different usage, and the information that we have created in this database can be cut into various customized reports and can be provided to different users. That's in a nutshell. I'm not going to the details of what are the various questions that the retail measurement service can offer, but some of the things which are very, very obvious, I'll just take a minute on this one, where if a manufacturer wants to know as to what is the size of my product category. If I'm a toothpaste manufacturer, what is the total toothpaste in terms of rupees, crores, or in terms of kgs? You can always compare it in terms of volume also. Value and volume, right? For my category, and how am I going vis-a-vis the benchmark market segments? What's happening to the category price? Am I increasing my price faster than what the competition is doing in the category, or am I going slow in that? And if I am, suppose, deliberately not increasing my price to that extent and trying to, say, manage with my profitability, is it impacting in my volume growth? So it should not happen that I'm not increasing my price in the same way that others are doing, and even the volume is not growing, or growing, say, at a slower speed than competition. Then there's something wrong, right? How did my brand do against competition? Not only at national level, but also in channel or banner or state or metropolitan, in a specific price segment or a pack segment. I mean, these are various things which you will use to go and build on your various investments on above the line, below the line kind of investments, and various other parameters. We'll see that in the form of a case study. What are the opportunities that I have so that I can go for a competitive gain? And these opportunities, where are they in a specific category? There could be, say, you would have heard and seen in the market that suddenly a lot of manufacturers have started, say, coming up with the hand sanitizer, say, brands. A lot of big and small manufacturers have come up because they've seen a, say, opportunity that this category is promising. Let's launch something. And if they got a brand name, they use the same brand name and launch a, say, hand sanitizer. So what are the opportunities around categories in a specific format, pack sizes, price points and all? And various users can use this information of RMS. So that was largely on how do we collect information and create it in a usable format. Now, there is a strong team of consultants at Nielsen, which will work with each of these manufacturers, retailers, investors, and various partners, and they will help them in making the right sense of these reports, this information, and guide and recommend them to take specific initiatives. That's largely what Retail Measurement Service is. I'll pause again. It is 12:42. As per my schedule, I had thought of completing this section on RMS metrics also before lunch. But first of all, if you have any questions on this process, you can ask that. And the second thing is, if you want me to take the RMS metrics for 10-15 minutes before lunch break, I can do that. Or after your initial observation on this slide or this section, we can break for lunch and come back and do the RMS metrics.
Yeah, please, all of us suggest it's we can do lunch break from 1 o'clock to 5.
So any questions on this slide on the RMS methodology, either organized trade or traditional trade?
Yeah.
Okay, so if it was fairly okay and clear, maybe I can take 15 minutes and complete this RMS metrics part, or at least whatever portion that we can do. Should we go till 1 p.m. and then break for lunch?
Yeah.
Not an issue, sir.
Is it okay for everybody?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll take the break at 1.
1
We'll
p.m.
complete the
Okay,
RSR metrics.
cool. So let us go with this. So this will be fairly easy, but slight technicalities that will come in. I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So the 4 dimensions that we have for India FMCG, RMS, we call this product as retail index. And the 4 dimensions are market, period, product, and facts, right? So market is very clear. You can read at a specific, say, micro market, metros, a town class, big towns versus small towns, urban versus rural, state, zone, and the country. So you can see within a state what is happening to rural versus bigger towns or metropolitans, and likewise. So markets is one fact. The second one is period. You can see in terms of monthly read what has happened in the month of, say, January versus, say, August, or in the month of, say, November of 2020 vis-a-vis November of 2019 also. That's how you can know the growth. How is the growth coming up? You can see 2020 versus 2019 as the full calendar, Jan, December. So you can see monthly level break, quarterly, yearly. Organized trade we can break even at a weekly level for India. And like I said, in some other markets, we can do at a daily level also, right? So market, periods. Then we got product, where we can have category. Toothpaste is a category. Gel could be one segment versus creme. There could be various companies playing in it. There could be a Patanjali, there could be a Dabur, there could be a Colgate, various companies playing in category and segments. And you can have brands, and you can have what? You can have stock keeping units. So you can read at any of these levels, and you can do various tabulations. You can see a metropolitan X versus metropolitan Y in terms of a category, say toothpaste. Within toothpaste, say, if you want to compare, say, a Colgate versus a Patanjali, into a state of between, say, the cities of, say, a Bhopal versus an Indore. So you can do that kind of cross tabulation. And various facts is what we'll, say, focus more on. There could be various volumetric facts, which is the sales value, sales volume, number of units of a specific pack or an SKU, promotion packs versus base packs, and so on and so forth. And you can also see in terms of distribution reach. And this becomes an extremely critical parameter for markets like India, which is traditional trade dominant, where success of your brand depends on how efficiently are you reaching to the traditional trade market, or for that matter, modern trade or e-commerce also. So these are the 4 dimensions that we covered under FMCG Retail Index. And that's the fundamental of the usability or readability of these RMS reports. Now, a very simple equation. So when I was talking about the audit, when an auditor goes to a shop, so a Colgate dental cream, 200 grams, if the shopkeeper, if the auditor goes to a shop, which is a panel shop, one of those 40,000 panel that Nielsen, say, has, and these panel shops will go every month, right? Suppose our auditor has gone to a shop on the 15th of December, right, 2020, and found that that shop had 3 pieces of Colgate dental cream where 1 Colgate brush is coming free. So he or she will write a 3 here, right? Now the same shop, when was visited on 15th of November last month, they would have noted down Colgate dental cream with 1 brush free. How many pieces were there? Suppose there were 2 pieces. So here there will be 3. Here opening stock, which is the previous month stock, was 2. And in between, we'll record how many pieces of Colgate dental cream, 200 grams with 1 toothbrush free, was purchased by the retailer from 15th November 2020 to 15th December 2020. You'll get the purchases also. So on a specific visit, you'll know purchases in the last 30 days. You'll know the stock as on date. And from the previous visit, you know the stock that was there in the last month, 30 days back. The equation we follow is opening stock plus all purchases. So in the last 30 days, opening stock was 2 pieces. The shopkeeper purchased 10 more pieces in between, which will be in the invoices, or they will record, say for the sake of Nielsen, even if they don't have a proper invoice, a pakka bill, they would record this invoice, and that's the partnership agreement that we have with each of these 40,000 retailers. So opening stock was 2 pieces. The shopkeeper made 10 pieces purchased in the last 30 days, and now the 3 pieces lying on the shelf, which means that 2 plus 10, 12, minus 9, 3, 9 pieces was the sales quantity. So 9 pieces were sold from the shop in the last 30 days. Is this clear? Simple equation. Opening stock to you plus all purchases done in the last 30 days minus closing stock on that given day will give you the sale that has happened in the last 30 days. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, for a specific pack, we were doing this. Say here it was Colgate dental cream, 200 grams with 1 toothbrush free. Now we know there were 9 pieces sold. We know the price of the pack. If you do quantity into price, you get the sales value, right? And if you do the quantity into 200 grams here, you get the sales volume. You know what was the grams or kgs of Colgate dental cream, 200 grams, and the value of Colgate dental cream, 200 grams, which was sold from this shop, one shop. This information you extrapolate to the cell, that cube example that I was giving, it will tell you what has happened in the city of Chennai or Delhi, they were discussing there, in terms of Colgate dental cream. The same operation will do for each and every SKU within toothpaste category, and you will know sales value of the category and sales volume of the category. Even in terms of number of units also you will get from the same equation. So in terms of mechanism, a fairly simple methodology, and that is the beauty of this methodology, which has survived last 80-85 years. Same methodology which has been practiced. The tools, the machines would have become sophisticated. The logical checks and validations would have become sophisticated, but the basic fundamentals is the same. And that's the most simple thing. The other thing that you'll get, apart from sales value and volume, is how many shops, how many retailers were stocking Colgate dental cream 200 gram and how many of them have purchased. Because not all Colgate dental cream retailers will purchase every month. You may find that out of 40,000, I had found Colgate dental cream only in, say, 30,000 of them. 10,000 of them were not stocking it. And possibility is most of them were pan stores. They were not stocking Colgate dental cream, 200 grams. But only, say, 30,000 were stocking. But not all 30,000 of them would have purchased Colgate dental cream 200 grams in that month. So stocking pattern and the purchase pattern will also give you the availability, which is also denoted in terms of numeric distribution. We'll see that. Is this clear? This is the most fundamental thing. These are the most basic measures that we get out of the simple equation of physical audit that we do in each of these 40,000 retail outlets. But it's a fairly cumbersome process, and one shop, an auditor may take even one full day, because the partnership, the fundamental of this partnership with the retailer is we would not like to disturb a retailer from the daily business that one does. While we'll do this operation only one day in a month, but even on that day, we would not like to disturb or make it inconvenient for the retailer, so that next month onwards, they stop cooperating or start making excuses. And some of these panelists, the outlets that we work with, they are on our panel for the last 20 years, 25 years also.
So I have a couple of questions.
Yep.
That nowadays the people are towards the e-marketing, the e-website, they are managing all the things on a go. They are using some sort of recommendation system and other, like Amazon and Flipkart are doing. So what I feel that these type of exercise will be done by the software only. We don't have to worry about what is going to happen. And in the current survey that 78.86 lakh, by the retail will be by 2020 in India, and that is a position of 63 in the World Bank doing publications. Then how these things will be beneficial for enhancing the ranking and overall growth in the retail market?
Fair point. But the only thing is you need to check the data that you're referring to. I'll give you the statistics, right? So today, if FMCG industry in India sells 100 rupees, right, in a year,
okay,
the e-commerce contribution is only 3 rupees, 3%, right? And
yes,
about a year back, it was only 1.5. It is doubling. It is growing very fast, but it is only about 3%. Modern trade, the brick and mortar part, the big bazaars and the Reliance of the world, it's not a new phenomenon in India. No?
yeah,
We have seen modern trade format for the last at least 20 years, if not more. Right or not?
yeah, right. But e-trending is now very much familiarized.
No,
like
I'm giving you the statistics now.
okay,
You're right. It is in trend. You and I would be stopping maybe 50% or 60% of our total FMCG from e-commerce. But the fact is, at a national level, it is only 3% of FMCG market. It was only 1.5% last year.
but current 2021 report has been not came because due to COVID-19, we are more towards the e-shopping and e-retail.
3 will become 4, 5. 3 will not become 30 now in 1 year.
Yeah.
Right. The second thing, the more credible validation is the example of modern trade that I was giving you. Modern trade has been in India for the last 20 years.
Yep.
Right now, contribution of modern trade to India FMCG is only about 9%. 0.9.
Okay.
Right. So
Yes,
20 years is not a short period. So the relevance of traditional trade, which is now close to 90%, maybe 88-89%, will still be there. But like I was telling you earlier, if you see the same equation in, say, a metropolitan, right? If you go to a Kochi, e-commerce and modern trade will be close to 50%. Now, if you're targeting Kochi as a market, traditional trade is only giving you 50%. But if you go to maybe, say, a city like Indore, there, a modern trade and e-commerce together will give you only about 15%.
Okay.
85% is still traditional trade. So relevance of this is going to be there for the next at least 20 years, if not more, and that will be probably our lifetime.
But India is very far away. It is having a rank of 73, as the World Bank is saying that business to consumer, it is in rank 73. That is.
So I'll give you, since you are maybe I'll just give you one more example. So e-commerce, contribution of e-commerce in India is only about 3%. The same contribution in South Korea is close to 24%. In China, it is close to 20%.
Okay.
Modern trade in US is close to 80%. So traditional trade will not be a very significant channel in, say, in a market like Italy or a Spain or a US or a UK for that matter. UK still traditional trade will be a good 25-30%. But in a market like India, Indonesia, Mexico, Brazil, Russia, traditional trade is still big. Turkey. So large part of Asia is still Thailand. Pretty significant traditional trade, and that will continue to be there. India for sure. Okay. So that's a different video. I'll just take one. We are at 12:58. Just allow me 5 more minutes. I'll just complete 1 or 2 quick concepts. So this is on distribution, right? So you may have heard about some of these terms, but simple terms, I'll just try to explain. So, and there's a numeric distribution and weighted distribution, right? And this is just showing you how do we make sense out of it, right? Suppose in a market, there were 4 shops, shop A, B, C, and D, only 4 shops, right? And this is just for illustration. Now, in shop A, this brand X is selling, and this shop A is selling only brand X of toothpaste, right? Shop B is selling brand X, but also selling Y and Z. Shop C is selling brand X and Y and no Z. And shop D is selling only Y and Z, but no X. Possible? You following me?
Yes, possible.
Now, shop A is selling 10 rupees of toothpaste, but only brand X. Shop B was selling 40 rupees worth of toothpaste, but had the 3 brands. Shop C had 25 rupees sales, but X and Y, and then 50 rupees sale from shop D and brand Y and Z. This example is clear, getting clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Now, when we have to do the numeric distribution, which is basically the reach, how many shops is my brand X reaching? So brand X is reaching 1, 2, and 3 shops out of total 4, right?
Yes, sir.
So numeric distribution for brand X is 3 out of 4 shops, which is 75%. Numeric distribution of brand Y is again 1, 2, and 3 shops out of 4, again 3 by 4, 75%. And numeric distribution of brand Z is 1 and 2 shops, 2 on 4, that is 50%. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Numeric distribution is sheer reach. How many shops that the category stocks? How many shops is being, how many shops stock this category, say toothpaste in this case? There are 4 shops stocking toothpaste. Out of those total shops stocking this category, how many of them are stocking my brand? Is the numeric distribution. 3 on 4 for X, 3 on 4 for Y also, and 2 on 4 for brand Z. Simple reach, right? Now, weighted distribution, which is one step ahead. This tells you the quality of distribution, right? So here what we do is, we'll see the total sales of the category, right? So for brand X, which is being stocked in shop A, B, and C, right? So shop A, B, and C, total sales from these 3 shops is 10 plus 40 plus 25. That is 40 plus 25, 65 plus 10, 75. So my brand X is reaching all those shops which cover 75 rupees of my category sales, and not reaching to one shop which is covering 50 rupees of this category sales. So total sales from these 4 shops is 75 plus 50, 125. So the shops that my brand is reaching is covering only 75 out of total 125 opportunity. Getting me? While shop brand Y is reaching to shop B, C, and D, 40 plus 25, 65 plus 50, 115. So out of 125 total sales of the category, all the 4 shops together, out of 125, my brand Y is reaching to shops which control 115, which means that the weighted distribution of brand Y is 92%. And brand Z is 1 and 2, is 50 and 40, 90 on 125, that is 72%. So this is giving you the quality of distribution. This is just giving the reach, the level of distribution, how many shops out of total are you reaching, and this is giving you the quality of reach. So brand Y is also reaching to only 3 out of 4 shops. So both Y and X have got same numeric distribution, but brand Y is reaching to the more relevant stores which are doing much bigger category sales. So this is a better thing to do as compared to a lower weighted distribution. So same numeric distribution X and Y, but Y has got a better weighted distribution, right? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Numeric distribution and weighted distribution, very, very important parameters. And I will not go into details. Maybe it's already 1:04. So if you want to break for lunch, we can do it now. When should we come back?
1:45 is ideal, everyone? Or
1:45?
1:30 or 1:45?
1:45 should be fine. I think let's give 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'll keep this slide on the presentation mode. In case if you come back early from your lunch, you can just go through this number. This is the most fundamental number, but very, very important parameter apart from the sales value, sales volume, sales units. Very important to know how is my brand distributed and what is the quality of distribution which is coming in the form of weighted distribution. Okay.
Okay. So we are taking a break of 45 minutes. 1:45.
We are coming back. It is already 1:05. We'll come back at 1:45. So 40 minutes break.
Okay, 40 minutes break. Okay. I will talk about the questionnaire yesterday to all the participants. I'll be mailing the questionnaire now. So I expect you to answer it by evening or by tomorrow morning. And we'll resume after the lunch break at 1:40.
Yep. Okay. See you then.
One request, sir.
Yeah.
After lunch, if you share some information about the innovative loans and the Diwaliya law, then that will be good for the new innovative persons, I think.
Sorry, can you repeat? I didn't follow your question.
The innovative ideas that you were talking about the business, no? There is the innovative loan process also going on, as well as some modification the Diwaliya law also has done, that you can share in the next lecture. That will be good for us.
Yeah, so I don't know. So I may not be the right person, the right expert to talk about the legality and the loan. Those options. Maybe we can check with other experts. They must have covered those aspects in the earlier sessions.
Pankaj, you share with us what is you want.
Yeah.
And we can manage other things also another day.
Okay.
Focus on retail research. So nice of you, Pankaj.
Okay.
Pankaj sir, there's a question in the feedback link that I'll be giving. You can write this in that question, in the question 4 in the feedback link.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Okay, thank you. So let's reassemble at 1:45. See you then.
Sure, sir. Yeah.